The continent of Africa is home to much untouched land that is difficult to explore due to the harsh natural elements and the wildlife that inhabits it. Apart from some of the obvious wonders like the pyramids, there are many unique places that might have been forgotten about. From haunted castles in South Africa to mysterious wastelands in the Namib desert, here are unbelievable places in Africa. Hey guys, how's it going? I'm your host, American Eye, keeping an eye on everything you want to know. Number 14. Pemba Island. Located in the Zanzibar archipelago in the Indian Ocean, Pemba Island was rather isolated from the rest of society due to political unrest. It had a reputation for traditional medicines and even witchcraft. Archaeological evidence would suggest that it's been inhabited as early as 600 AD and was an important trade hub for fish, bananas, rice, coconuts, clove, beans, and other stuff. It's home to a rather creepy abandoned amusement park known as New Umoja, located in the eastern part of the island. Although it's unclear exactly why it went abandoned, economic reasons could have been certainly an issue. However, the island has seen somewhat of a surge of tourists in recent years due to the coral reefs that are good for checking out while scuba diving. Number 13. Lake Kariba Dam. This dam is located in eastern Africa and it separates the countries of Zambia and Zimbabwe. Its impressive power makes it able to withstand pressure from the Zambezi River Gorge and forms the artificial lake known as Lake Kariba. This gorge, located in the Zambezi River that you see in this photo, separates Zimbabwe, Namibia, Botswana, and Zambia. It's the place where the most countries all meet at one point, and it's quite an impressive feat of nature. It's the fourth longest river in Africa and can be quite wide in some areas. This serves as quite the boundary for the four nations and could certainly be difficult to cross. The dam itself has a rough history from the beginning and it actually forced 57,000 people to relocate. In 2017, the dam has produced less power partially due to declining water levels. If something happens to this dam and it collapses, it's going to certainly be an international crisis. Number 12. Lake Natron. Located in Tanzania, this lake has the same pH level as bleach, making it rather treacherous. If you couldn't already tell by taking a look at this lake, it's definitely a place you don't want to swim at. The visible layer of the lake is covered in a reddish salt. Animals who enter don't always realize its pH level and typically receive some kind of skin damage. Flamingos who roam the area are susceptible to the hazards and can receive burn marks. The lake seems best suited for salt-loving bacteria, which is a part of the reason why the lake turns red. What's also sort of mysterious about this lake is that it's able to reach a temperature of 140 degrees Fahrenheit, which makes it a little bit inhospitable to some animals looking to cool off. Number 11. The Fasilides Castle. This next building is located in the northern city of Gondar in Ethiopia, which was considered to be the Camelot of Africa back when a Christian kingdom ruled the area. It was considered to be a great achievement of Emperor Fasilides, and seemingly displays both European and African architecture. A lot of it was originally influenced by Arab and Hindu architecture design, but later on influenced by Jesuit missionaries. The complex includes stables, banqueting halls, a library, and 3 churches. Number 10. The Castle of Good Hope. Built in the year 1666, there's certainly something slightly demonic about this place. It's located in Cape Town, South Africa, and declared as a National Historic Monument. Constructed by the Dutch East Indies Company, it's the oldest colonial building existing in South Africa, and most likely the most haunted too. It's believed that a spirit of a travel writer, an artist, and socialite named Anne Bernard appears within the opulent ballroom of the castle. Others claim to see a mysterious black dog who wanders the hallways. Sometimes this dog is even seen leaping at visitors before disappearing in midair. During the Second Boer War, the castle was used as a prison, and the prison cells are still there in modern times. There's also a creepy dungeon with no windows where prisoners were given no mercy. Number 9. The Lalibela Churches of Ethiopia. Considered to be one of Ethiopia's most holy cities, there's just something a little bit eerie about this place. This African country was one of the first on the continent to adopt Christianity. The churches here were built between the 7th and the 13th centuries and are carved out of rock within the earth. One of the more well-known is the Church of St. George that we see in this photo. It's carved from a stone known as volcanic tuff and even referred to as the 8th wonder of the world by some. Here you can see it from above, which gives you an idea of its positioning from the surface. All the churches are rather unique and hand-carved, which must have been quite time-consuming. Number 8. The Bibliotheca Alexandrina. The ancient library of Alexandria was one of the most significant places in the ancient world. It was created by the Ptolemaic dynasty who came after Alexander the Great. Some believe it might have been destroyed sometime in the conquest of Egypt in 642 AD. However, a new one has been built, and although it might not appear to have some secrets of the ancient world like the original one did, it's still a pretty impressive place to look at. Books that are stored here contain languages such as Arabic, English, and French, and is still big enough to store 8 million books total. It covers 20,000 square meters and a 32-meter high glass panel roof. The reflecting pool appears quite majestic, as you can tell from this photo. Number 7. Wahna Mouf. Libya is a fairly large country in Africa that appears to be the same color for miles and miles. But from an aerial view, you'll notice a large black dot that seems to stand out. This is Wahna Mouf, and it's an oasis that formed in the middle of a volcanic crater. The changing color of the sand is actually from an extinct volcano that once spewed lava in this area. Its name is translated to oasis of mosquitoes due to the large amount of mosquitoes here. It was unknown outside of Africa until the late 19th century when a French soldier was being prisoner here. It served as an important watering hole for caravans trying to make it across the vast Saharan desert. It kind of stands out if you're in the area too. Number 6. Exploding lakes of Africa. Some lakes in Central Africa have a far higher CO2 level than other places, which can suddenly erupt under certain circumstances. Such a lake is known as Lake Nyos in Cameroon, where sudden explosions have been known to devastate the local population. In 1986, one spontaneous explosion killed nearly 2,000 people and 3,500 livestock. Lake Kivu is the third most explosive lake in the world, located in the country of Rwanda. It certainly has the potential to be deadly since a large amount of people live nearby. Some people here are actually trying to extract the flammable gas in a risky process known as catalyst scrubbing. Number 5. Sossusvlei. Possibly one of Africa's most unforgiving landscapes, this one is located in the eastern part of the Namib Desert. The word actually translates to dead-end marsh in the Afrikaans language, and it's easy to see how it could get that name. Pretty much all that's left here is a bunch of sand and the occasional rotting tree like we see here. It has a harsh desert climate which can easily reach over 100 degrees during months ranging from September to February. Dune 45, like we see here, is made up of sand estimated to be at least 5 million years old. Trying to survive here would seem to be foolish, considering that it only gets 4 inches of rain per year. You'll also come across some very apocalyptic landscapes, like if you visit Sossusvlei, which has an abundance of dried up camel thorn trees. These have been lifeless for about 600 years now. They managed to not fully decompose due to the extreme dryness. There is truly a lot of geological mysteries here, and it makes up a surrealistic landscape like you might expect to see on an alien planet. Number 4. The Cweas Oasis. Located within the Sahara Desert is the Cweas Oasis, and one of the most isolated settlements in Egypt. Situated near the Libyan border, it's about 348 miles or 560 kilometers west of the capital of Cairo. Living here, however, is nothing new, and the earliest known settlers came here during the 10th century BC. Being completely surrounded by a dry, inhospitable desert has allowed the Cweas Oasis people to develop a unique culture from the rest of the Middle East. This is often seen in their style of artwork, jewelry, and also their language. They speak what's known as the Cweas or Oasis Berber. This might seem somewhat strange to the eastern part of Egypt. The oasis is inhabited by about 30,000 Cweas Berbers, and the hot springs are known to occasionally attract tourists. If you're looking for some good dates, the people of the Cweas Oasis have been growing them for the past 3,500 years. Number 3. Mozambique Island. This little island is connected to the mainland of the country of Mozambique in eastern Africa. The entire island is a UNESCO World Heritage Site due to its rich history during the age of exploration. It's become a growing tourist attraction and was even visited by the Portuguese explorer Vasco da Gama. It became the capital of the Portuguese East Africa and was also an important location for explorers to trade and stock up on supplies. The little island is home to the Renaissance-style fort, a palace, an old abandoned hospital, and other historical sites waiting to be explored. Number 2. The Owl Museum. Located in the eastern Cape of South Africa, the Owl Museum is certainly a strange sight to behold. It originally belonged to Helen Martins, who was a reclusive outdoor artist who would bring some of her visions to life, whether it was for the better or for the worst. At her home, she created more than 300 different statues, including owls, camels, pyramids, peacocks, and humans. You can find this mysterious residence in a town called New Bethesda, and also, don't come here without expecting some nightmares. This clay sculpture displays a close-up of a cat who has headlights for eyes and looks like he's a little bit sad. And number 1, the Chapel of the Ark of the Covenant. Could Ethiopia truly be the final resting place for the Ark of the Covenant? This one is a little bit strange because they claim to actually have the true Ark of the Covenant, but no one is allowed to see it. Not even the president of Ethiopia, because it might warp his fragile little mind. In case you didn't know, this was supposed to be an elaborate box that contained the 10 Commandments and has been sought after by many crusaders. It's said to be about the size of a seaman's chest and made of gold-plated wood with 2 large angels at the top. Many have gone on wild quests to try to find it, but with no luck. Some believe a secret society already has possession of it and that they hold it for some kind of mystical power. What does it really look like though? I guess we'll never find out because it's held in a chapel in Ethiopia, surrounded by a 10-foot fence. Maybe the monks who were guarding it actually have mystical powers and we shouldn't try to find out? Possibly.
Whoa, now that was a cool video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.